And this culprit within 24 hours.
Peter Sellers' life is a fascinating tale of going from humble beginnings to achieving great success in the 20th century. His journey from humble beginnings to international fame is truly remarkable. Despite his memorable performances as Inspector Clouseau and Chance the Gardener, Sellers faced numerous challenges in his personal life. Let's delve into some fascinating insights about the life of Peter Sellers and some disturbing secrets that lie beneath. Had little to no personality. Peter Sellers won the award for Best Comedy Performance at the 1980 Golden Globes for his role in the satirical comedy drama Being There.
But only out of kindness.
He also received an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. These were the last honors in a remarkable career that started when he was just 2 weeks old. Born in the seaside resort of Southsea, Portsmouth, Sellers' journey took him all the way to the stage at the King's Theatre. His parents were always on the road, traveling for their performances, often leaving their young child behind for extended periods. His childhood was filled with challenges, which greatly influenced his life and career, marked by struggles with mental health, turbulent relationships, and frequent outbursts. Despite Peter's mother being very controlling and Peter being extremely shy, they had a strong bond. According to Sellers' friend Spike Milligan, their relationship was later described as unhealthy for a grown man. It's interesting to consider that Peter was named after his stillborn older brother, which might help explain his mommy issues. Following his service in the Royal Air Force during World War II, Sellers made the decision to embark on a career in showbiz.
On the night of the murder.
In order to land an audition with the BBC, he resorted to a clever tactic. He called them up, assuming the identity of the renowned radio host Kenneth Horne, just to grab their attention. Producer Roy Spear was captivated by the impression, which resulted in Sellers becoming a frequent radio performer. In the late 1940s, Sellers met Harry Seckham and Spike Milligan, and together they became the stars of The Goon Show, a highly acclaimed radio comedy program that entertained audiences throughout the 1950s. The avant-garde surrealist humor of this work had a significant impact, particularly on a group of Cambridge University students who later formed Monty Python. The character of the real-life Peter Sellers has always been a bit elusive, known for effortlessly slipping in and out of different roles and creating new ones on a whim. In his classic movies, Stanley Kubrick effortlessly embodied various roles.
And another thing!
Describing it as a state of comic ecstasy. One notable example of his dynamic talent can be seen in the film Dr. Strangelove, where Sellers brilliantly portrayed 3 distinct characters. According to several biographers, Sellers struggled to find his own sense of identity. In a 1980 interview on The Today Show, the actor talked about a concept that had gained popularity: the notion that there was no Peter Sellers. Sellers insisted that there was more to him than met the eye, despite appearances. Throughout his career, the topic had come up time and time again. In a well-known clip from The Muppet Show, Sellers, who had played various characters on the show, shared with Kermit, "I don't really exist. I don't exist." According to the Daily Telegraph, it is possible that the origins of this selflessness can be traced back to difficult experiences during early childhood. Richard Henry Sellers was given the name Peter as a tribute to his older brother, who unfortunately was stillborn. Sellers was deeply troubled by this feeling of not belonging, yet it may have been this very feeling that allowed him to effortlessly immerse himself in the thoughts and emotions of other characters. A near-death experience. In April 1964, Peter Sellers found himself in a Los Angeles hotel room with his 21-year-old wife, Britt Eklund. This marked the start of a challenging period in his life, as described by his biographer Ed Seekoff.
Dying, people always think, everyone goes...
In Seekoff's book, Eklund provides first-hand accounts of how the couple used drugs to enhance their bedroom performance. One drug they frequently used was amyl nitrite, also known as poppers. According to Eklund, the couple would take the drug every night in their quest for what she called the ultimate orgasm. But things took a turn for the worse that night. Eklund recounts the moment she returned from the bathroom to find Sellers lying on the bed, surrounded by spilled champagne, and realizing that he was having a heart attack. However, Sellers didn't go to Cedars of Lebanon Hospital until the following morning. During the next few days, he experienced a series of additional heart attacks, causing his heart to stop completely. Each time, the star was brought back to life with the help of a defibrillator. When the news broke, television crews wasted no time in preparing potential obituaries, as Seekov explains. I was told that I was clinically dead for 2 minutes. I was kind of unsure, you know? While drifting in and out of consciousness, Sellers entertained the children on the ward with his songs and impersonations. Sellers would experience ongoing heart problems throughout his lifetime. Peter Sellers' relationship and marriage to Anne. When The Goon Show wrapped up in 1960, Peter Sellers had tied the knot with Australian actress Anne Howe, became a proud parent of 2, and embarked on a film career. He even had the opportunity to work alongside one of his idols, Alec Guinness, in movies like The Lady Killers. As his shyness grew, so did his insecurities about succeeding in Hollywood. Unfortunately, this led to him neglecting and even mistreating his own family. In 1960, he decided to take on a part in The Millionaires because he was thrilled at the opportunity to act alongside the legendary Sophia Loren. It became clear that he had hidden intentions when Sellers finally confessed to his wife that he had developed strong feelings for the captivating Italian actress. He went as far as waking his young son in the middle of the night to seek advice on whether he should end his marriage. It seems like he should have asked a therapist instead of a sleepy 6-year-old. Later on, he would express his deep disappointment when he asked his children which parent they preferred and didn't receive the response he had anticipated. He even went as far as saying that he never wanted to see his kids again. Peter Sellers' divorce. In 1962, the couple went their separate ways, and although his personal life was falling apart, his career was on the verge of taking off. Sellers' performance as Inspector Clouseau in The Pink Panther was highly acclaimed, with many comparing him to comedy legends like Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. His portrayal earned him nominations for both a Golden Globe and a BAFTA. Sellers himself played a major role in creating the character, which would go on to become his most beloved and iconic portrayal. Delusionally loved Sophia Loren. Sellers' first marriage ended when he became infatuated with Italian page and screen idol Sophia Loren, leading to the dissolution of his relationship with Anne Howe. Sellers and Loren collaborated on the 1960 movie The Millionaires, and even created the catchy song Goodness Gracious Me as a fun way to promote the film. Sellers made it quite clear that he was infatuated with his co-star. According to Seekov, people who worked with Sellers on the set of The Millionaires said that he treated Loren in a playful manner, as if she were a pin-up in his bedroom. Meanwhile, during dinner with his family, the actor couldn't resist analyzing Loren's behavior and how she had treated him every day. There was a moment Sellers came back home and openly professed his love for Loren to his wife. Loren was married to Italian movie producer Carlo Ponti, and their marriage lasted until his death in 2007. Sellers reportedly told his friends that he and his co-star were deeply involved in a romantic relationship, even suggesting that she planned to leave her husband for him. However, there is no evidence to support these claims. It's worth considering that Michael Sellers' infatuation may have been nothing more than a fantasy, fueled by his ego being boosted from being cast alongside a glamorous sex symbol. Strained relationship with his kids. Not only Anne, his first wife, had to cope with Sellers' ego-driven emotional issues. He didn't hold back when expressing his love for Sophia Loren, even in front of his own children. Michael, Seekov's son, shared a touching moment when his father woke him up in the middle of the night with a heartfelt question. "Do you think it would be best if I divorced your mother?" The Sophia Loren saga stands out as a clear illustration of Sellers' disregard for the feelings of his family. Throughout his life, they served as a constant outlet for his insecurities. During an interview with The Scotsman, Michael shares a touching memory from his childhood. He remembers his father asking him, when he was just 7 years old, which parent he preferred. Sellers flew into a furious rage when he heard the word mummy escape his lips. Michael recalls receiving a letter from his father, who stated that he was disowning him and suggested that he should adopt his mother's maiden name. How Michael, along with his sisters Sarah and Victoria, went on to write a book that became a bestseller. The book delves into the experiences they had with their troubled father, making it a compelling read. However, amidst the sporadic communication, physical separation, and emotional ups and downs that the three experienced, the harshest treatment occurred when Peter passed away. Peter Sellers' career. Sellers' roles in 2 Stanley Kubrick films, Lolita and Dr. Strangelove, solidified his Hollywood credentials. Dr. Strangelove specifically allowed him to showcase his acting versatility by portraying 3 distinct characters, a skill he had honed during his time in radio comedy. Sellers held Kubrick in high regard, a sentiment that couldn't be extended to other directors he collaborated with. When his mental state started to deteriorate, he sought solace in Superstitions to boost his career.
Swinburne, that is my private mustache and naughty bird.
He sought guidance from astrologer Morris Woodruff and became convinced that the spirit of a music hall comedian named Dan Leno, who passed away in 1904, was guiding his life. Sellers had developed an unusual dislike for the colors green and purple, despite his fame. He had a strong aversion to the color green and would refuse to work with anyone wearing it. His publicists had to carefully check hotel rooms for any traces of purple to avoid triggering his anger. Sellers' remarriage and drug use. Sellers married his second wife, Swedish actress Britt Ekland, just 10 days after meeting her, despite or maybe because of the 19-year age gap. He quickly became jealous, controlling, and paranoid, telling her what to wear, insisting that she spend all of her free time in his company. While she was filming a movie in London, he even had a medic tell her she was too sick to continue working. Producers unceremoniously fired her from the film, making her even more dependent on Sellers. No doubt distracted by his troubled relationship, his notoriously prickly on-set demeanor hit a new low when he started picking fights with director Billy Wilder on the set of Kiss Me Stupid. Peter Sellers' unpredictable actions towards his loved ones were made worse by his use of alcohol and experimentation with drugs. In the 60s and 70s, Hollywood actors known for their excessive drinking and fast-paced lifestyles were quite common. However, the consequences of this lifestyle were particularly devastating for Sellers and those close to him. At a young age, Sellers experienced his first heart attack due to the significant impact of alcohol and drugs on his health. Unfortunately, Sellers did not receive the proper treatment for several reasons, which only added to the difficulties. According to The Guardian, production companies often overlooked Sellers' heart issues due to his immense value to them. In addition, Sellers had a strong belief in superstitions and tried various alternative methods instead of seeking medical help from pulmonary specialists, which could have potentially improved his health. It was clear that Sellers' declining health was inevitable, especially considering that he and his fourth wife, Lynn Frederick, maintained the same lifestyle without making any changes. One evening, during a rendezvous with Ekland, Sellers used amyl nitrates as a sexual enhancer and experienced a remarkable 8 heart attacks within a span of 3 hours. After his recovery, he unfortunately had to step back from the filming process.
You, sir, are under arrest.
Arrest? What for?
For making lewd and suggestive remarks to an official of the French government.
Billy Wilder, the director, didn't have much sympathy for his challenging former lead. The making of 1967's Casino Royale, a James Bond parody featuring renowned actors such as Orson Welles and Ursula Andress, was quite chaotic. In addition to multiple directors, a team of writers, and a growing budget, Sellers was frustrated by the film's shift towards comedy and desired to be part of a more serious Bond film. Biographer Roger Lewis reveals that Sellers continuously revised the script in an attempt to portray his character as a hero rather than a mere parody. Orson Welles famously called him an amateur, leading to a rift between the two actors who refused to share the same shot. Joseph McGrath, one of the directors, was even punched by the Sellers in response to his complaint about their behavior. Eventually, Sellers decided to leave the film before it was completed, allowing him to fully dedicate himself to the unfortunate deterioration of his marriage with Britt Ekland. Want to hear more about Seems Like Old Times? Sellers and Ekland teamed up again for their next film, The Bobo, but unfortunately it turned out to be a complete disaster. After a lot of arguing, Sellers insisted that the director should fire his wife. Ekland finally admitted that their marriage had become a terrible lie. While they were filming, Ekland's mother suffered a heart attack. Lost in his own personal turmoil, he failed to pay her a visit, and tragically, she passed away just days later. The weight of this regret would haunt him forever. As if things couldn't get any worse, Ekland decided to divorce him not long after. Peter Sellers' life after mother's death. The next years of Sellers' life showcased a series of bad career decisions. He had a string of flops and even worse romantic choices in 1970.
It was the first time they'd used one of these. There's only 2 of them in the world. I was very lucky to be in Los Angeles.
With his midlife crisis still going strong, the 47-year-old Sellers tied the knot with 23-year-old model Miranda Quarry. By 1973, the marriage was failing, of course, and Sellers fell into a chaotic affair with Liza Minnelli. After watching her perform, the pair were so mad about each other, they got engaged within 3 days of striking up a romance. Despite the fact that Sellers was already married, and Minnelli was engaged within a month, their flame burned out as fast as it had ignited. Though Sellers got divorced anyway, probably for the best, that around this time, confidants started to suggest that Sellers was in the middle of nervous breakdown. When TV host Michael Parkinson invited Sellers on his show, the comedian felt insecure about going on without any character to hide behind. So he dressed up as a Gestapo officer before sitting down to the interview.
Hello, this is Inspector Clouseau. Connect me with my assistant immediately, will you?
Yeah, the mid-1970s saw Sellers try to revive his slipping career. He appeared in several more Pink Panther movies, which did bring money accolades and renewed relevance, but his on-set tantrums got worse. As Sellers got older, his women stayed the same age. In 1977, he got married one last time to 23-year-old actress Lynn Frederick. She was even less equipped to deal with Sellers' outbursts than any of his previous relationships. And according to biographer Roger Lewis, his temper shelved a movie. Peter Sellers' challenging personality caused significant strain on his friendships and working relationships. His irritability, flightiness, and violent mood swings affected not only his home life, but also those he collaborated with on set. Let me share a fascinating story from director Peter Medic's recollections, where he recounts his friendship with the legendary actor Peter Sellers. The production of the 1973 movie The Ghost in the Noonday Sun was famously disastrous, filled with countless difficulties. This intriguing story was later captured by Medic in a documentary called The Ghost of Peter Sellers, which was released in 2018. When Medic went to work on a script with Sellers, he was surprised to find himself waiting alone at the actor's house. After searching for him, Medic discovered Sellers doing yoga, completely naked and balancing on his head. It was definitely an unexpected sight. The incident has its own humorous twist, but with Sellers' mixed feelings towards the production, along with on-set tantrums and arguments and unfortunate circumstances surrounding difficult shooting conditions, the movie never made it to the big screen.
And I submit, Inspector Ballon, that you arrived home, found Miguel with Maria Gambrelli.
In 1985, Ghost in the Noonday Sun was finally made available for home viewing. On the Peter Sellers website, his official biography highlights his obsessive pursuit of perfection, which contributed to his genius, but also made him a challenging person to deal with. Missed the death of his mother. Peter Sellers' relationship with his mother, Peg, was anything but simple. It was a complex dynamic that they shared. Peter's mother doted on him, possibly influenced by the heartbreaking loss of Peg's first child. In Seekoff's biography, Anne, Sellers' first wife, shares how their relationship shaped his future interactions with women. Peg stayed by Sellers' side throughout his adult life, showing an unusually strong sense of protectiveness and allowing his actions to go unchallenged.
That was Madame Ballon. Follow her. When you have discovered her destination, call me immediately.
According to some biographers, this suggests that Sellers may have relied on the women in his life to take care of him, like a child. During the filming of The Bobo in Italy in August 1966, Sellers received a phone call informing him that his mother had suffered a heart attack. Despite the circumstances, Sellers decided to stay on set, and tragically, his mother passed away shortly after. Sellers was deeply affected by her passing. Peter Sellers hid disturbing secrets. In 1979, Sellers had a final opportunity to showcase his acting skills in the highly acclaimed comedy Being There. He portrayed Chance, a character who is charmingly naive and works as a gardener. Sellers fully immersed himself in the role, adopting a method approach and maintaining distance from his co-stars and journalists. During the filming process, his hard work and dedication paid off, resulting in him receiving a prestigious Golden Globe and a nomination for an Academy Award. In the ever-changing life of Peter Sellers, what goes up must inevitably come down. Shortly after the movie was released and received praise from critics, Sellers approached his 15-year-old daughter Victoria to get her thoughts on the film. She said she really enjoyed it, and playfully commented that he resembled a chubby little old man. Sellers lost his temper and angrily threw his drink at Victoria, insisting that she immediately catch the next available flight back home. When Sar's oldest daughter, Sarah, expressed her disapproval of his actions, he sent her a telegram that would become one of their last communications for years. Sellers' friends had been urging him to see a doctor, especially regarding his heart concerns. Even though Sellers had experienced multiple heart attacks, he refused to give in. He even collapsed on set in Dublin at one point, but amazingly, just 2 days later, he was in Cannes. Back in 1980, on July 22nd, Sellers had a special plan to meet up with his goon buddies Spike Milligan and Harry Seckham for a long-awaited reunion dinner in London. He wouldn't stand a chance. In the afternoon, Sellers suffered another heart attack while at his hotel. Unfortunately, he passed away a few days later at the age of 54, as he was laid to rest. Okay, let us go into the details on this event. In 1980, 16 years after his first heart attack, Sellers' heart finally gave out. The scene, once again, was a glamorous hotel. According to Roger Ebert, Sellers was staying at the Dorchester Hotel in London at the time of the attack. He was taken to London's Middlesex Hospital, where his condition worsened dramatically. Sellers passed away at 6 in the evening on July 24. By his side were his second wife, Britt Eklund, and their daughter Victoria, as well as his fourth wife, Lynn Frederick, to whom he had been married for only a few years. A number of tragic details have emerged surrounding Sellers' death, apart from the relatively early age at which he passed away. Life's work. Sellers started his journey in the film industry during the 1950s. While he was best known for his comedic performances, where he hilariously poked fun at figures of authority like military officers and policemen, he also showcased his talent in various other film genres and roles. Some of the films that showcase his artistic versatility include I'm All Right, Jack, Stanley Kubrick's Lolita, and Dr. Strangelove, What's New Pussycat, Casino Royale, The Party, Being There, and 5 films of the Pink Panther series. Sellers had an incredible ability to bring a variety of funny characters to life. Effortlessly switching accents and disguises. In his films, he would often take on multiple roles, each with their own unique personalities and ways of doing things. His films were known for their clever satire and dark humor, which also shone through in his radio and record performances. Many comedians who came after him were greatly influenced by his unique style. Sellers received 3 Academy Award nominations during his career. He was recognized twice for his outstanding performances in Dr. Strangelove and Being There, both for the Best Actor category. Additionally, he received a nomination for Best Live Action Short Film for his work in the Running, Jumping, and Standing Still film in 1959. He was honored with the prestigious BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role, not once, but twice. His exceptional performances in I'm All Right, Jack, and the original Pink Panther film, The Pink Panther, earned him this well-deserved recognition. Additionally, he received 3 nominations for Best Actor, showcasing his remarkable talent. In 1980, he received the prestigious Golden Globe Award for Best Actor Motion Picture Musical or Comedy for his outstanding performance in Being There. This well-deserved recognition came after being nominated 3 times before in the same category. According to Turner Classic Movies, Sellers is recognized as one of the most talented comic actors of the late 20th century. After his death, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer tried to continue with Romance of the Pink Panther and offered the role of Clouseau to Dudley Moore, who turned it down. The studio subsequently returned to Blake Edwards, who was adamant not to recast the character, feeling certain that no one could adequately replace Sellers. In 1982, Edwards released Trail of the Pink Panther, which was composed entirely of deleted scenes from his past 3 Panther films. Frederick sued, claiming the use of the clips was a breach of contract. The court awarded her $1 million, plus 3.15% of the film's profits, and 1.36% of its gross revenue. Sellers' friend and Goon Show colleague Spike Milligan said that Sellers had one of the most glittering comic talents of his age, while English filmmakers John and Roy Bolting noted that he was the greatest comic genius this country has produced since Charles Chaplin. Irv Slifkin said that the most prominent, albeit ever-changing face in comedies of the 1960s was Sellers, who changed like a chameleon throughout the era, dazzling audiences. In a 2005 poll to find the comedian's comedian, Sellers was voted 14th in the list of the top 20 greatest comedians by fellow comics and comedy insiders. Sellers' final joke. Following Sellers' death, Fellow actor Richard Attenborough said that Sellers had the genius comparable to Chaplin. The Bolting brothers considered Sellers a man of enormous gifts, and these gifts he gave to the world. For them, he is assured of a place in the history of art as entertainment. Bert Kwok, who appeared as Cato in the Pink Panther films, stated that Peter was a well-loved actor in Britain. The day he died, it seemed that the whole country came to a stop. Everywhere you went, the fact that Peter had died seemed like an umbrella over everything. Director Blake Edwards thought that Peter was brilliant. He had an enormous facility for finding really unusual, unique facets of the character he was playing. Sellers' friend and Goon Show colleague Spike Milligan was too upset to speak to the press at the time of Sellers' death, while fellow goon Harry Secombe said, "I'm shattered. Peter was such a tremendous artist. He had so much talent, it just oozed out of him." In dark humor, referring to the missed dinner the goons had planned, he added, "Anything to avoid paying for dinner." Secombe later declared to journalists, "Blue Bottle is deaded now." Milligan later said that it's hard to say this, but he died at the right time. Sellers had one last practical joke up his sleeve for his fellow goons.
Points out when he used to say,
He insisted that Glenn Miller's "In the Mood" be played at the service, knowing how much they detested the song. It seems that Sellers, feeling dissatisfied with his marriage to Lynn Frederick, was attempting to exclude her from his will completely. Unfortunately, he passed away before finalizing the paperwork. Unfortunately, his children were only left with €800 each from his multi-million-pound estate, while the majority went to his wife, who adamantly refused to augment their inheritance. According to Britt Eklund, Sellers was believed to have bipolar disorder, but he strongly resisted the idea of getting professional help. He was definitely a complex and mysterious individual with a rather intricate perception of himself. During his appearance on The Muppet Show, which took place 2 years before his passing, he decided not to portray himself. Instead, he had fun trying on different costumes and accents. When Kermit proposed the idea of embracing his true self, he responded, "I could never be myself, you see. There is no me. I do not exist. There used to be a me, but I had it surgically removed." At least he didn't dress up like a Nazi. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.